Thank you. I'm going to call to order the Finance Committee meeting on Tuesday, March 5th. May I have an approval of the agenda, please?
So moved.
May I have a second?
Second.
Thank you. And by roll call, so Jeremy?
Aye.
Chris, Stephen,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Denise, I thank you. I'm going to open it up for public comment. If there's anyone that wants to raise their little electronic hand. Seeing none, I'm closing it for public comment. So we're going to discuss warrant articles for the annual town meeting 2024. First one up is Article 9, appropriation, health and human services. And Dorothy and Jericho, if you would join us at the big kids table, please. That would be great. If you sit between Chris and Maria, that will be easiest for the owl to see you and for all of us.
We sort of like it when the owl can't see us.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, she's all.
I'm with you on
And
that.
Alice pretty amazing.
Thank you for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you for having us.
Yes, of course. So Dorothy, over to you.
Okay, thank you. First, I want to say thank you. Thank you for the money allotted to us. But I am gonna say how we're sort of feeling this year. We had over $900,000 in requests in the human service grant. And we had over 500,000 in, or almost 500,000 in the cannabis grant. I can tell you that we discussed at the beginning of the year, writing a letter requesting further funding because of the need of it. It didn't go out, and a lot of it didn't go out, to be honest with you, because of my personal life. And because of, it was a hard year. But what I can tell you is that we have a problem, guys. We have a big one. And we invest a lot of money in infrastructure. We're investing money in new buildings. And we're investing in building houses for the people that are here. But we're not investing enough in the services. If we're going to build for them, for people to be here, we have to start investing more money in the services that are provided within the town. Or that the town, these private nonprofits are offering and doing, because their numbers are huge, and we sit and we have to decide which program gets the money when we'd like to fund them all to capacity, because we know what they're doing. So I just wanted to put that out there as, we didn't go forward. A lot of the reason we didn't go forward is on me. But I just think that it really has to be in the back of everybody's mind. If you're going to invest, or we as a town are going to invest in housing, we have to start investing in the people within the community first. And as much as we're trying, we are missing. So with that.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Yeah.
Before you go on, Jericho, do you want to add anything? And then we'll have to.
Yes. So,
right.
absolutely.
That was somebody on.
Yeah, sorry. We absolutely did have we had a long and sustained increase in requests over the years. Part of that is likely to be the way that we do the bidding process. So we're also starting alongside this a consultancy to review our processes and see if there's some more concise tracking and reporting that we can do, so that we can be generating data to go for outside grants as well. So that process is underway. We'll have hopefully all of those recommendations in place for the next season, so that we'll have a tighter process for developing grants, working with the grant recipients, and then alongside that, potentially a way to gauge the difference between the request and the amount of money. Part of that process is also benchmarking us against other municipalities that have similar demographics to us, to see exactly how much we're spending on it versus other similar communities. And then we're also working with a couple of other organizations to follow best practices that they've developed. So we should have a nice, tidy grant process for the next year to go along with any request for additional funding.
Thank you. Okay, Dorothy, back to you.
Okay, thanks. So I'm going to just tell you the allocations, and then if you have questions, we'll go forward with that, okay? We did have a new, in the human service grant, we did have a new applicant. And what we do strive for, and what part of the CRC is set up for is it is supposed to support newer programs if it can.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I need to recuse myself. I'm a board member at Small Friends. So I can't participate.
Yeah, I have to recluse myself because my daughter works for Fairwinds.
Okay,
Okay.
hang on a second.
Denise, I have to recuse myself. I'm on the board of PASCOM.
Good, good. Now we have the rule of necessity. So now we can all talk,
Pardon?
right?
They drop below quorum.
We're below quorum.
Yeah, we're below quorum but we're all here and there's no way you can get a quorum without us participating. So now we can participate.
You can't just recuse from the allocation you're involved with.
There's only one article to be voted on.
Yeah, hold on a second. Libby. Libby. We're always gonna be below a quorum on this because Jill would also recuse. She's on something. I'm the only non-person here, me and Peter.
No, I'm not on anything either.
Oh, you're not, so that's four.
Rob's
Rob's
not.
not here today.
So was it rule of necessity was Roger's rule? I forget what the.
Hold on a second. Is Libby on?
Yeah,
She-
I am. I'm gonna have to check on this.
Yeah,
Just stand by a minute, because I'm not sure it's a present quorum or if it's just a quorum in total.
okay.
Procedure for invoking the rule of necessity.
Let's see. Wait a minute.
We'll never have a quorum.
I can get Rob to jump on for a few minutes. Can you jump on?
That'd be best.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I told him he didn't need to attend. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, we had to stop the other day because we lost.
Says that it's only applies to elected.
We had to stop the other day when Joanna stepped out and we were down to 4 and John Giorgio said we had to stop it. So,
Yeah, there's some special status for the finance committee and not the good one. Not that fun one.
Denise, is there any materiality clause in all of this?
no, it's a quorum or not a quorum.
No, not on that. I meant on the requirement to recuse. No. There isn't. That I'm aware of. If any organization that you either work for or have a financial interest in or support has a financial interest of any kind, you have to recuse. That I know. Sadly,
Excluding donations, I guess, right?
So if you did take that category you just did and donations are excluded, I am not on a need to recuse. I've just been appointed to the board of PASCOM. I'm trying to help them.
yeah, I know you're trying to help. I'm trying to see if I can get Rob to show up.
Okay, all right, can you stand by for one quick second? Okay. Denise,
Yes, Libby?
the rule of necessity can only be invoked
Yeah, we
when
found
there
it.
is a full complement of members present. Or, online. So do you have 7 there right now?
We have 7, but we're 9.
Right, so you have to have 9 available to
Okay.
invoke the rule of necessity.
So then, does this mean we are postponed?
You either have to get, no, I'm gonna put John on, hopefully you can hear him. You either have to get 2 more members or table, right, John?
Yes.
And Joanna. You just need Rob.
Need the full.
No, if we have Rob, we have a quorum.
Hold on, John.
We don't need the rule of necessity if we have Rob. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Sorry, catch up.
Please don't make it more confusing.
It's hard.
That's what he does.
Okay. I'm gonna just go physically call Rob. As you were.
He's in the Bahamas, so it might be a
Oh,
tough, yeah.
I am not picking my phone.
Yeah, you're gonna catch him at the pool. He's gonna want to give away tons of money.
Yeah, right. Give him a.
Denise?
I'm calling Rob, Libby,
Oh, okay.
trying to call Rob. He's not answering. I don't blame him. I told him he didn't have to come. Okay.
And then the board would just simply recuse, right?
Yeah.
And the,
I
and the,
was just calling to see if you can jump on, and then it's going to be an article 9.
The hospital didn't apply this week. I guess it would have been,
Wouldn't have been really bad.
Postponement.
You guys missed out.
you know,
Okay. Sorry, I'm back.
may I ask the nature of the company?
Denise,
Yes, I'm listening.
I'm sorry to have it, to do it this way, but, John, I have John on the phone.
Okay,
And I don't know if you can hear him or not, but he's saying that it's best to get the 2 more members on if at all possible, but he also is now asking about the nature of the conflict. So John, do you want to quickly summarize what you just told me?
Yeah, hey Denise, so
hi, Tom.
you cannot invoke the rule of necessity to create a quorum unless the full complement of the board is there, and then the number, whatever number have a conflict, you can invoke the rule that's necessary to have a working quorum for the meeting. The Ethics Commission also says that you can invoke the rule of necessities if you can wait for another meeting when you can all be together, or sufficient number can be together. But I just asked Libby, what is the nature of the conflict?
Everybody's a board member on one of, or the people who are recusing are board members of the organizations that are getting awards under Article 9.
Or fathers of employees of those organizations.
So are they all nonprofit boards?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so I believe that the Ethics Commission takes the position that if it's a nonprofit board, that does not create a prohibited financial interest.
Okay.
So they could just disclose.
If they were all employed by a private company that had business before the Finance Committee, that would be a prohibited financial interest. But if they're nonprofit organizations, I believe that they should make a disclosure under 23B. Of course, you're meeting right now, but they should file as soon as they can a disclosure to dispel any appearance of a conflict.
So
Okay.
John, one of them is not a board member. One of them has a family member who works for the nonprofit. Does it matter?
It's not a business, or I don't believe the Ethics Commission would say that that nonprofit is a business organization. And that's the term that's used in the conflicts law. So as long as they're not a business organization, they have to be a nonprofit. The fact that one of them has a spouse who works for that nonprofit, it would be the same analysis.
Okay, it's not a spouse, it's a different family member, but same idea.
Yes.
Okay.
Then we're
And
good.
John, it's 268A, chapter, what is it, 23B?
It's chapter 268A,
Yeah,
section 23B.
okay, all right,
And it's subsection 2, 23B, 23B3.
okay, all right.
Nancy has those forms
Yeah.
in her office.
Okay, so I can get them online too, so I can send them to you, Denise, and you can distribute them.
I'll forward them to the Finance Committee and then they can fill them out and send them to Nancy. Okay?
Yep. They are, they
Yeah,
do,
they have
yeah,
to be filed with the town clerk. You don't need, the Finance Committee or the Select Board doesn't need to vote to approve them. They just need to be filed with the town clerk.
Thank you. Sign in person. Yeah.
all right, we need, okay, thanks, John.
Okay. Good. All right, Dorothy, back over to you. We are now a quorum again.
Thank you. Okay, and some information I just wanted to put out before we did this is that the island population again rose by 3.6% this year from last year.
Year-round population?
Year-round population from last year. And that our school population, we rank number 44th in, ranks number 44th in Hispanic students, 305th in white students, and 88 in African-American students out of 399 schools within the state district and within the state of Massachusetts. As far as Cape and Islands, we rank number 1 in Hispanic. And if you take us to the Vineyard, we have the Vineyard has 8.7% of their population identifies within the public school district, where 11.61% of our population is in the school district. 28.81% of their population is Hispanic, and 43.4% of our population is. So just to put it out, like trying to show the change in what we're seeing in the demographic within the community. So PASCON, we're going to go on to PASCON, which is our new one this year. They came to us for money for taxi service and to get people to their support groups. They offer over 350 support groups a year. They also are offering them in Spanish. They see 65 clients and 175 families altogether that they're, or people within families that they're servicing. And so in that, we have okayed or are recommending that we pay for the taxi service and that we pay for some additional advertising that they need to get it out to families and to caregivers about their support groups. Okay. So in that, we are making a recommendation of, sorry, I have to get to that.
On the wall.
Yeah, these glasses can only read this, sorry.
It's $22,908.
Yep, and that was what they requested, and that is what we are recommending. Elder Services has asked for 30,600. Some of that is for a taxi service, actually for them too, to get food. They lost their contract of food, getting the food from Kitty's to Elder Services building. So part of that is getting a guaranteed person to bring the food down to the salt marsh. So it's probably one of the best bang for our buck in the community. They did 10,388 home deliveries and did 2,309 meals this year. So we felt that it's always been, and probably one of the areas where we don't invest enough money is into the elder community. The next one is, I should go by name here, I'm sorry, NAMI, which is the Alliance, and the Alliance for Substance Abuse Prevention. They asked us for 175. We're giving them 85 with an asterisk, and that 85,000 with the asterisk is that we are putting $10,000 towards the peer mentor training program that they're offering, and 75,000 to the free subsidized youth to 28 therapy, which goes to caregivers, single parents, families. And that was because they presented a new 5-year program to us this year, and we're taking it a little piece at a time, because they had presented some of that in the youth behavioral grant, which we did not fund that's in the youth behavioral grant. Health imperatives came to us for 182,104. Where our recommendation is 114,238 for them.
Dorothy, it's 139,238 on the.
This is the total from fiscal year tax levy and from the special stabilization fund, and she's reading only for,
Oh, okay, tax.
that's
levy.
why.
Yeah.
Okay,
They're
Right.
combined under
I think it's very.
What is that?
that includes the 2 different revenue streams. So this is the 114,238. That is the 130. No, wait, hold on.
Does that include what we made recommendations for the cannabis grants?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, I did not know that.
That's right.
Okay. So do you need the totals?
We have them right here on the wall.
Okay, sorry, I
On
can't
the screen,
see
and I
that.
can read them to you.
Yeah, I
So
just
you
can't
can
see
tell
the
me who you
combined.
want, and I'll tell you the number.
No, I'm just, so. Sorry, I did not know it was gonna be combined up there. So they saw the health imperatives program, as everybody knows, has been probably one of the most culturally competent programs that we have on the island. They serviced in 2023, 1,041 people and did 450 in the WIC program. And one of the things we presented to the Board of Selectmen last year is, just so that you might know, is that our endorsement of the WIC program through Health Imperatives has actually won Health Imperatives, one of only 3 grants in the country to set up a program which actually is working on the vineyard, but with that, it will increase the WIC funding to the island as they can show where our program, the program done here, became the seed program to help the vineyard get money and then enhance funds of WIC to the Cape and Islands. So we're pretty excited. That was a big thing to get that. So kudos to Nantucket for taking this step on that one. Fair Winds. We made it, they requested 175,000. I'm sorry, it's 115 in the human service grant. And it is 50 in the cannabis grant. And the cannabis part of it will do the peer recovery program, which is a one-on-one coaching that happens for somebody that is in recovery. It sort of, they are people that work with somebody where they're at, not where, not like in any other recovery. They're usually somebody that's has made it successfully through recovery and helps them set up a plan for their future, step by step. And the other allocation for Fair Winds goes to the sliding fee, which is for the, to offset the cost of therapy for people that don't have insurance or are underinsured. Martha's Vineyard Community Services is the program that works with children and families that are the more vulnerable and within our community, they're more challenged. Some of them, they this year are now at 33 families that they're servicing, which is huge. Their age is going from 0 to their oldest one they have right now in their program is 52 years old. And they offer not only support programs here, but they get families into all the necessary services needed through DMA, Department of Mental Health, and will help families get to medical appointments on the mainland. This has always been, again, one of the, you know, when you talk about a bang for a buck, this program is unbelievable and the people involved in this are just absolutely amazing. So the next program is South Coast Legal. South Coast Legal offers services to families. It's civil service, so it's legal services for the elderly with Social Security, any supplements they might need, families that are challenged with rent problems. They work with divorce, child support, child custody. And they also work with the immigration. They have a special factor that works with immigration. They have to be legal immigrants, but they do offer the services. The 5,000 actually covers their costs to come back and forth to the island. This in itself, they've serviced last year 23 clients. So in itself, that was, we believe it's a great thing to do. The Interfaith Council has taken on the warming shelter this year as well. They did ask for 135,000. We made a recommendation of 100,000. It is up from 85,000 last year. But they've also taken on, like we said, the warming shelter. They have serviced over 3,000 families within the food pantry, and 170 within the rental assistance program. We believe, as we all know, the basic needs in our community do have to be met, and we endorse that, the 100,000. PASCOM, which I've already said, Small Friends is their after school, their summer program, which allows families to continue to work and not search out for daycare. They are one of the only facilities open throughout the summer here. And a lot of their staff are or their children are town employees or work in some of the more, in our industry. Then the next one is Artist Association. They asked for 40,000. We did 40,000 with an asterisk on theirs too. We would like to get some more training for their employees on therapeutic services when teaching. There's a program called Healing Through the Arts is what they do. When they originally came to us, they were trained in that therapeutic. They had staff that was trained. They no longer have that staff trained. They have the artists and they have they have 58 people on the waiting list. So it is a high demand, but we would like to see them get the training that goes with providing this service. And the next is Sherburne Commons. That is the Memory Cafe. That is in its first year this year. It's being done at Sherburne Commons through the community school as well. And they asked, last year they got 17,000. This year they're asking for 32,332, sorry. And that is to expand their program. It's for advertising too, which is interesting because having conversation with the director of Sherburne Commons, she said it's so hard to even get people there because people are afraid of what might happen once you get there. But once they get into the meetings and become a part of it, it's been very beneficial, especially to the families. So
Does this include the NHA program?
This is different from the NHA program.
Why? Why can't we have one program?
Because a memory cafe is a very specific therapeutic process
Right.
that's a little bit different than the NHA product. I've actually been in discussion with Robert, who's on the Council of Aging, to kind of do some cross-pollination and have some of the NHA exhibits be a component of the memory cafe. And it's just a process of when they get to it.
but good question. And then we have Addiction Solutions. We are making the recommendation of 50,000. They came to us for 185,000. They have begun to do some fundraising on their own. It is he had 118 patients in his program. 56% of them are men.
This is Leprey's program.
This is Dr. Leprey's program. And it's very, like I said, we had some really good programs come ahead of us and we had to make choices. And the peer recovery program came out of what that allocated money was. The Addiction Solutions and the Nantucket Community Television is actually, and I'm going to go on to that one so that you understand where we came with this, with the cannabis, is actually coinciding with ASAP. So, and it is going to be a program run by kids. Kids are going to be doing a program with the community television where they're going to be meeting it with people from the community who have gone through addiction, and they're going to be doing videos, and they're going to work with therapists and the people and students to do these videos to then present as an educational program to the school. And one of the things that we see, and I'm sorry you didn't get my report. They weren't approved in time for this, but that one of the key components right now on everything, as we all know, is education. We have to educate. And if we're not educating, we're going to just continue to put money into programs like the Addiction Solutions and peer recovery. And we would like to eventually at some point be putting more money, not have to put so much money into those programs, and see these kind of programs that can possibly reach a child within a classroom and make a difference there. And this will be run by the kids. So our total recommendations are as seen there at 825,000. Okay.
Thank you, Dorothy.
Mhm.
So I'm going to ask the committee members if they have any questions and further information from John Giorgio. The members with conflicts should not participate in the discussion on the grant for the particular nonprofit. but they can vote on the total budget as a whole. So Joe, don't ask about fair winds, that's the message. Just to keep it simple, though you could because father is fine, but anyway. Okay, anyway, questions for Dorothy?
I have a gen- I have a general
Chris?
question. Is there a point of view of what we're trying to solve with municipal funds relative to the other funding sources as they come in? You know, does the town come at this with a specific gap that it's trying to fill as a grant maker? You know, the stuff I'm hearing is all the way good stuff that people would generally look at, right? How effective it is, how big is the population it's hitting. But I'm just trying to get a sense of whether you guys look at this from a perspective of, hey, there's third-party philanthropy out there, there's all these grants, but the town is in this either just as a generalist to be another piece of the, you know, another piece of a broad pie because we'll never meet all the need, or is it a particular perspective we're bringing to bear?
Well, I think it's a mixture of both right now. We're re-looking at the way we've been doing it. We don't feel that we want to be able to support the newer programs that are coming in because we feel they're valuable. But we also know that this programs that are in place, the institutional programs that are in place are equally as valuable. But should we be a line item in the budgeting process is a question. Like, should the town municipality be a line item? That's a question. But do we have access to these services otherwise? For some, we don't. And so we're sort of in the middle of it all, because what we're really working towards is, and we have with all of these, is we asked for more collaboration. We wanted to see that groups were collaborating more together than they have. And that's been a key, like, how are you working your collaboration? With hopes that as we prove this, we can access more funding. That's part of what the big youth behavioral grant was. It was based on a lot of collaboration, with hopes that as we go out to seek other funding, what people will see, or the grant holders will see, is that we are working as a community towards a more collaboration to get funding from other sources versus just the town. Does that answer that?
I think so. I mean, so you're saying one of the priorities is where can we create leverage by showing sort of success that can bring in other funding?
Correct. And that's really important to us.
It's Joe. I think the town is a citizen in the community, and it's like other citizens. It's helping to fund the things that are needed in the community.
Okay, Jericho?
So to add on to that, at the Human Services departmental level, the basic view on the CRC grants and the Human Services grants as a whole is that it is similar to an incubator at a certain level. When it was initially developed, this is before my time, but it was initially for startup or first time applicants. So part of the review process is going to be looking into separating out the grants so that we have some that are anticipated for specific first time applicants or first time programs. Likewise, it was originally developed as sort of a funding for programs, and it has become more of a organizational funding structure. So the review process is going to look at how these phenomenon have happened and what the resolutions for those have been in other municipalities, primarily centering on Greenwich, as that's one of the more similar models identified by the consultants. Additionally, from that, we're working to develop the reporting processes and the data collection processes in order to be doing needs assessments and getting empirical verification of the different problems we have so we can scale and scope our responses to them. One of the major things that I've been working on is working on our data collection process so that I can go back and have every single person who has gotten coverage under this particular thing, and I can lay them out in a time series. I can cluster them based on a variety of different factors, so I can more intelligently both allocate resources on the departmental municipal level, where I can be spinning up particular programs or securing vendors to secure immediate services, and then directing them through the grant process for the next year, and then having a proper discussion about, is this core services that were previously delivered by human service workers who were employees, which to my knowledge it was for a while. Some of these, the Nantucket Food and Fuel Rental, et cetera, was originally a process that was done by staff members, town staff members. And so a big part of the process is that these are things that used to be core services delivered by the town that, as economic and nonprofit processes evolved over the years, are now parceled out to the nonprofits. So we're trying to figure out the ideal place for starting new programs, supporting existing ones, and providing services that would be really difficult to get funded through conventional grant processes. For example, the sliding scale fee through Fairwinds. That's the kind of thing that it would be extremely difficult to get covered under a conventional grant, given that it is very hard to quantify ahead of time. So there's a lot of things going on here, but there's a lot of other models that we can use to build ours out. And there's a lot of ways that we can combine the strengths of how we've been doing it with the strengths of more modern data collection techniques, more streamlined reporting processes, all of those basic efficiencies that will make things easier.
Thank you, Jericho. Jeremy, then Joanna.
Yeah, I was curious to move from the strategic discussion to the tactical. And I was curious, how many new participants did we get this year? And how many dollars did we not fund? And then I guess finally, how many dollars do you think the demand really is out there? In other words, how much more could you deploy?
We could deploy over 500,000 more dollars were requested this year. We had one applicant that we again had to deny, which is Habitat for Humanity. It doesn't fit into this criteria. But we had 920,000 in requests. If you took the Habitat, so it was 902,000 came in for us in the human service grant, and the cannabis grant was, I believe 485. So we allocated 650,000 within the human service grant, and we allocated 175 in the cannabis. We did that youth behavioral grant at 175,000. I could tell you that program could be funded every year. And that could be additional funding. It is, but we said we were doing it for 1 year. So we did it for 1 year, but it is already, we're seeing, the benefits of that program itself. So
is it safe to say that we're funding about 80% of the ask that comes in? And this year we found one new entrant?
No, we had a total of 3 new applicants this fiscal year. And I believe the total request on both grants was 1.3 out of 8, at 825 allocated and 1.3 in total request. So I think that's closer to like
over
60.
103.
Was it?
Yeah, it was over 103.
Yeah, okay. So I think we're funding at around 60 to 70%. I think that there are ways to gauge need and demand more than just request amount, and that's one of the things that we're looking at. One of the things that I think that we can use as a good model for this is, again, what do other towns spend on this, and where are we with respect to them?
But I'm gonna
on that on what the towns spend. I'd be curious, for us to deploy $825,000. How much did that cost the town as far as administrative costs to find 3 new participants and then deploy this capital?
it didn't take much for us to find 3.
Well, administrative costs are a consideration, and that's one of the things that we're hoping for some efficiencies in the consultant report. There's definitely a variety of ways that we can reduce staff time on this. But the other thing is that it's not quite fair to equate it to being what it cost us for new applicants. Some of these are baseline services that are being delivered by nonprofits. So some of it is steady state service delivery, not anything else.
And I just want to say that in one comment on this, even when we look at other communities, we have to remember that we are one of the only communities you have to get on a boat to get somewhere, or on a plane, and you can be stuck here. And that plays a big part in what these services are for us. You can't go to another community to get them. And a lot of the communities that we will be looking at in any other way, shape, or form have the ability to get in a car and go to the following community to get it, or travel to 2 or 3 different communities. We have to in some way be able to provide those services here within this community. And I just want to say
I
that.
actually challenge that with, that's the beauty of COVID. If there is beauty to anything about COVID, is that we learn that sadly, we might have to do things over screens, and I realize it's not as effective. And it's surely not for crisis, but there probably is some services that can be supplemented. So yes, say out of 100% of services, 70% should be in person, but you could get reasonably effective services from 30% online. So
On some of them,
Yes.
but they're not, most of what we're servicing, like we're providing one-on service with people. I mean, there's food and that's people going in to get it at the
right,
food,
no, I understand, but Dorothy, I'm saying we use it's an island a lot.
Mhm.
And at some points, you also can say, well, what if you can't physically get to something? So how are you gonna be creative or saying, no, there's no services? So yes, this year it's food and it's taxis and it's, but Fairwinds could do things online, right? And do things online.
And most of
So-
there is online.
Right, so that's what
So-
I'm saying. So it's, yes, it's an island. I
Mhm.
hear you, but I wouldn't want to see an island be the only benchmark. Jericho?
There is an argument to be made that by incentivizing on-island development of certain economic roles, there's a secondary benefit there. But yeah, we are absolutely looking to get the optimal balance of services we can't sustain here, and then like try and make as efficient a switch over so that we're not moving too quickly in one direction to the other.
Sure. Joanna?
Thanks. I just want to say, or I want to commend actually, Dorothy and Jericho for all the work. This is was my 3rd year on this committee. It's a lot of work. It was a lot of hours, and there's a lot of time spent going through everything. And I think that the things that Jericho is reporting about what will happen through the review, the independent review, are really going to be important, and benchmarking against what other towns are doing is important. I think one other conversation that we had this year that was relevant to this conversation, to our conversation tonight, is that we really have been looking at the organizations who have requested over $100,000 year over year over year, and really trying to look at, is the town really, in what ways is that $100,000 deployed against their budget? And how do we measure that? Because what it comes down to is that we're doing basically an operating grant for those organizations. And that's important for the residents of Nantucket to get the services. But does it truly belong in this bucket of money? Or is there another way to support those activities? And I'm just going to pick on Fairwinds because it came to top of mind. If they're year over year requesting $175,000 and we're never able to give them the full amount, would we be better served by saying in this bucket of grants, you can't ask for more than $100,000. That's the top award, so that we can reach more organizations with support. And does the town want to make a commitment to the 4 or 5 organizations that we get the bulk of the services from? So I think that these are the conversations that will move this process forward as we, go into the future with how we address, human services in the community.
Thank you, Joanna. Well said. Any other questions? In which case, may I have a motion?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I do have a question. So, we used to allocate a lot of money to 1 and then 2 programs with the hospital. And that's not the case this year, but it in some ways, I think, obscures the fact that we have a growing need and a growing number of organizations that are coming to the town for money. I know that was a challenge in the past, to deal with growing requests from some organizations. So I think that's a good idea, maybe, to look at limiting the amount that can be awarded to any one applicant. But I wonder if there was consideration on your committee about what would happen if the hospital were to come back, or if any new organization were to pop up that needed $100,000? You know, how do you anticipate dealing with that, outside of a letter to this committee or to the select board asking for more money? I mean, what happens in that scenario?
Well, when we have programs presented to us, we do ask one key question is, can this program go without us? Can you fund the program? Can you find another source for the program? And then we look at what the one-on-one services are that are coming forward. And see what bigger impact will each program have as we go along. And that's been the key on most of these as we go. If that's your question, I mean, if somebody came in, that would be key to us. Is there a way that somebody can fund this? Is there a way anybody's other programs can be funded? And what is the service you're providing, and how much impact does that service have?
Yeah, I think that's a way of answering it. I'm not sure there's a better one, so thank you.
Thanks.
How many of the grants or the organizations would not be able to exist if you didn't fund them?
How many of them wouldn't be able to exist?
You don't have to go through those.
Programs that would cease or organizations that?
Right.
Well, programs cease, so would they just be dramatic cuts?
So I would say, and correct me if I'm wrong here, Dorothy, like of the people we asked, somewhere on the order of 40% said that the program that they were asking for would not happen without this funding. And then of the remainders, they all pretty much said that we would find some way to do it, but on a vastly reduced scope.
Do you review the income and the expenditures of each organization?
We
The
do.
budgets, yes, we do. We do. And we are known to ask additional questions when needed if there's information that doesn't make sense, or if we want to have a better idea. And sometimes that will play into the role of how we're making our recommendations.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion?
Motion to adopt.
Second.
And a second from Peter, thank you. Any further discussion on the motion? So roll call, Jeremy?
Aye.
Thank you. Joanna?
Aye.
Thank you. Chris?
Aye.
Stephen?
Aye.
Joe?
Aye.
Peter?
Aye.
Denise, aye. Thank you. Unanimous.
Thank you guys very much.
Jericho,
Thank you very much.
thank you. Thank you for all your good work.
Maria, Maria, do you know what a 23B is? Sort of form.
Libby's gonna send it. to
You're
me and
gonna
I'll
send the
it to all
form,
of you.
yeah.
Peter's done it, so
Yeah, I think I have
he's
it.
the expert.
Yeah.
I see you.
Peter's so conflicted, he just has it right there on his homepage.
Yeah.
Okay, Libby, you get to tell us all about the sewer articles. That's very exciting. Article 66, bylaw amendment, Board of Sewer Commissioners, Syosconset, sewer district map changes, Sankaty Road, Isabel's Way, and Plainfield. Where did the sewer commissioners land on this?
So, 66.
Yeah, we have the picture up.
66 was to move to town meeting with a positive motion. So they would go to, if you approve it, it would require a majority vote at town meeting rather than a 2/3.
Okay. Any questions from the committee?
Is that the golf club? It's like Sanctity Head Golf Club.
Maybe.
Let me,
Don't
Hold
think
on.
so, because I watched the select board
Yeah.
meetings.
I don't think it is. It's kind of close to the golf club, but it's not the golf.
That area outlined in red is for sure the golf club.
Oh, I'm sorry. Sewer additions. I'm sorry. This is basically, to deal with. So as you probably know, we're working on alternative access for Baxter Road. And this would be the needed additions to the sewer district to allow for the sewer connections that are gonna be necessary to connect over to Pulpus Road from Baxter. And from the homes that are gonna have to they're gonna have to connect elsewhere in the sewer eventually, not on Baxter, over at Pulpus.
So is there a financial cost to the town for this? Or are these, or are any new lines gonna be covered by?
Well,
people
that's a
or-
good question. The select board hasn't yet made a final determination on that. Because there's a couple of different things going on here. There's the utility relocations and there's the actual alternative access roadways, which, are intent. The discussion so far, there have been no votes, has been betterment related.
It's Joe. I'm sorry, I don't understand what that means. I think it's interesting to know who's going to pay for the relocation of Baxter and the other things that have to be done. Is it the
So-
residents on Baxter or is it the town?
What I'm saying is, Joe, that the select board has not yet made that final determination. They have had discussion about who is going to pay, and they have discussed assessing betterments. However, the town will have to upfront the money for all of this because the betterments are paid back over a period of time. So they've discussed that, but they have not actually voted on that methodology to fund this just yet. But
So
this is
Libby,
a,
if this huge area is just for a connection to the homes on Baxter, why is it that huge area and not just a skinny part where the sewer line will go?
well, I think partially because the design of the sewer lines is not complete. So a good amount of this is, as Stephen pointed out, the golf club, so it's not buildable. And as the sewer design progresses, I think this might get a little bit more refined, but this is the area where the sewer lines will connect to the sewer line in Pulpus Road.
So would it possibly be better to financially review all of this when everything is pulled together? Or is it best to do these in sequence, the
well, I
way
think
this
we're
seems to
just-
be?
I think we're just trying to put all the pieces of a puzzle together, and they don't all go together in a very orderly manner. With something like this, this is really the first time we've done such a comprehensive alternative access project like this. So there's no like established first step, second step, third step, here's how we're gonna fund everything. It's just not like that.
So effectively, Libby, if I understand this correctly, this will allow, if needed, sewer could go in this district. If needed, if required. That's what this is. It doesn't mean there's
Yeah.
going to be sewer going in tomorrow,
Correct.
but they need the flexibility to be able to do it as in
Yeah.
when the Baxter Road relocations, 90% plan gets to be 100% plan.
Yeah, and when all of the infrastructure is actually in place in another area, specifically Pulpus. And
But this is not an allocation of funds. or an
no,
appro-
no.
Okay, further questions? So the sewer commissioners, which is the select board, voted a positive motion on this. Do I have a motion? Okay, move endorsement of the sewer commissioners.
Yes.
Thank you.
So they make the motion on this and we just say whether we support it or not. Is that the mechanism
I don't know.
similar to the planning board?
No, I think
We have to do motion to adopt.
positive motion, however it needs to be.
All right, we're making a positive motion and then we'll worry about the wording. Libby gets to worry about the wording. Yeah. Okay. Any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none, okay, Jeremy,
Aye.
Joanna,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Stephen, Joe,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Denise, I, thank you. Brian, did you put that down? Thanks. Thank you, Brian. So great that you're here. Okay, Article 70 was approved last year. We made a positive motion on it last year, and then the voters turned it down, just to remind everybody.
So 70, the parcels, the board did not approve this because the parcels, these parcels are included in Article 66.
Okay, then. Ah. And how's that gonna work at town meeting? That'll be fun.
Okay, so would our motion then be, would a motion of take no action, would that be consistent with what the sewer commissioners intend here?
You know, I didn't look at what the language is in prior years, but it would either be not to, you probably take no action is good because it's already gonna be acted upon in the prior article.
Motion to take no action.
Okay,
Second.
any further discussion? Seeing none, Jeremy,
So wait, I'm sorry, what am?
motion is take no action.
I approve that.
Thank you, Jeremy. Joanna,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Joe,
Aye.
Peter,
Aye.
Denise, I.
My memory from last year's town meeting is that Amy Eldridge stood up.
Yep.
And said that this will allow development of two properties and will result in driveways crossing the bike path,
Correct.
which is why it got turned down.
Yes, the bike path ends where those driveways will be coming out as and when this would be developed. So that was the discussion at town meeting, correct, Joe? Okay, Article 71.
The 71, I'm just gonna read the recommendation that came to the board, and the board approved this. This article meets the sewer criteria, the parcels in the Harbor Watershed Protection District Zone A. This area was already planned to be added to the town sewer district as it was already designed, and connections have been installed as part of the Nantucket Harbor Shimo Plus Parcels Sewer Extension Project. So it's adjacent to the sewer extensions that have already occurred.
Okay,
I'll just say that there was some bizarro conversation at the sewer board about this not being suitable. That
Yeah.
it eventually prevailed,
okay.
but I thought the dialogue, people might want to go back and watch it, was pretty weird that having this stuff sewered does not help the health of the harbor. And I think the one thing that we conclusively know from all the reports and all the research that gets dumped on us is the one thing we can do to save the harbor is more sewer
yeah.
in the watershed. So I just thought that was kind of interesting that came up, but
So as long as you're talking about it, who said that it wouldn't help the harbor and why?
Selectman Fee raised, as if I'm remembering correctly, questioned whether it would help the harbor because I'm actually not sure why that was raised in that way, but I thought it was interesting that it was because I haven't heard that point made before in a public forum that more sewer, and the reason I raise it here is I think something we need to consider for the future is if we really want to help the harbor, fertilizer and other sideshows aside, more sewer in the harbor watershed, I think everyone agrees would help, be a considerable help to the harbor.
We used to talk about capacity issues when it came to adding properties to the sewer district, and this is one property and it's already been developed, so maybe not important here. But it struck me when we looked at Article 66 and that large tract of land, which is a golf course, so again, not probably an issue, but I wonder, do we have issues with capacity, especially as we're closing down? Wish David were here to tell us, what are those fields called? The one that.
Sewer beds.
Sewer beds, yeah, so sewer beds, they're getting closer and closer, when we just had to close one down, does that affect capacity for wastewater treatment plant? Or is-
Not currently.
Not currently, so the
No.
number of beds doesn't impact.
At
Not,
some point it would, but not yet, I don't think.
Capacity was not the issue raised. It was more hardscaping and the potential for additional development was.
I see, okay. All right, so we'll talk about capacity another day.
And don't forget, you're gonna be disabling all the sewer people on the wrong side of Baxter Road. It's a swap, theoretically.
Mhm.
Theoretically, I mean, of course, it never will be, but it's theoretically a swap.
Right.
So it should be net zero. I'll believe that when I see it always, but there you go.
For treatment plants though.
Don't
Oh, there you
confuse
go.
things with facts.
Right, we have one in Wisconsin, we have one in Surfside, so.
Oh, yeah.
Forget about my Wisconsin plant.
Yes, exactly. Oh, it's yours? I can.
Yeah.
I didn't see the Stephen Moore sewer plant on the top. Okay, then, so, you heard the sewer commissioner's motion from Libby.
I move to adopt or support or whatever the correct form is.
Second.
Adopt, somebody just shoots. It's easier for my notes. Okay. Any further discussion? Nope. Jeremy,
Aye.
Joanna,
Aye.
Chris,
Aye.
Stephen.
Aye.
Joe.
Aye.
Peter.
Aye.
Denise, aye, unanimous. Thank you. Okay. The real estate acquisition, Libby, are you doing this one too?
Yeah, I think we might actually want you to hold this a little bit because I
Okay.
need to check in with a couple of other people. I
Hmm.
think we had hoped that we would several months ago when this was being put together, or so we had hoped that we would perhaps have been able to negotiate with property owners as to the potential acquisition of one or more of these properties for the sewer pump station for the Somerset sewer extension. However, we have not been able to do that just yet due to lack of resources. And so we may ultimately say take no action, recommended take no action, but I think if we can take this up on Monday.
Okay, all right. Good. Then, the next agenda item is, thank you, everybody. Next agenda item is if there's any other warrant articles that anyone wants to discuss. Seeing no hands raised, our next meeting is Thursday at 4 o'clock. Committee reports. So Joanna, CRC is done. We just saw it.
Yay.
Yay, okay. Peter,
On the Our Island home, Joe's favorite subject. We presented the proposal to Sherburne Commons residents yesterday. And unanimously, they supported it, not one negative comment, even from the people who are closest to where the building's gonna be. I think they look at it as something important to their lives, perhaps. So it was very, very encouraging. Management may not have felt the same way, but people that live there felt that way. So it was good. We're gonna have our presentation, I think, on the 20th, the select board and to the finance committee. I mean, yeah, there's somebody
The
else.
select board,
And
yeah.
Cap.
In broad terms, the proposal is to add on to Sherburne or to use.
No, nothing to do. We own the land. The town owns the land there. So it's using the land for the land for the building.
okay, solid waste,
Nothing.
nothing's happened since then,
Yeah, no.
okay. All right, Jill's not here, so in CPC, okay, and Joanna's done, okay, thank you. Any other business? Okay, seeing none, may I have a motion to adjourn? Second,
Aye.
thank you, Jeremy. Okay, Joanna,
Chairman does.
Aye.
thank you, Chris.
Aye.
Stephen,
Aye.
Joe, Peter,
Aye.
Denise, aye. Thank you, Maria, Libby, thank you for being in place, Brian, very nice. All right, I'll see you all Thursday, back in this lovely trailer.